All right, guys, this is something I'm extremely proud of. It's the biggest endeavor we've ever taken on, trying to do something both for the community, pull our communications and our network connections together to try and do something that I've not seen anyone do at a time right now where it would be nearly impossible. So do me a favor, stick around for the entire video. We're gonna show you the scope of the project in its entirety, and then we're gonna give you guys a series of videos coming up of putting all of this together so you can see exactly why I'm excited for this. So I am in downtown Long Beach right now at a place called Scholars Collective. This is the brainchild of Dr. Angela Macias. Part of the problem with education these days is the fact there's just not enough hands-on learning, there's not enough enrichment, and the whole point of what you see behind us right here is to be an enrichment center. Also, it's a place where you can take your kids if you've got, trust me, as a parent, I truly am on board with this concept. You drop your kids off for a couple of hours of either specialized tutoring, STEM projects, gaming, we've got consoles here, but everything has a learning foundation to what the kids are doing. So whether it be playing with the Mario Kart augmented reality remote control cars, or putting together marble run sets, we're gonna show all that. Drop your kids off, it's inexpensive. You go have a nice date with a significant other, and then you come back and you pick up your kids. It's not a daycare, it is an enrichment learning center. So let's kind of take a little bit of a tour here. Right over here is where they have the console games. So we've got a PS5 sitting here. We've got a couple of Switch systems, the Mario Kart AR stuff. We've already decided we're gonna play with this before we leave. We've seen people do videos about it, but we haven't actually done it ourselves. So I have a feeling I'm gonna kick Phil and Nick's butt, but that's besides the point. This is also not just for games, but they also put educational videos up here. Some of our YouTube videos have actually made it on this screen right here. But look, we got these amazing little bean bags that are more or less Phil sized. I won't try and sit in them. I don't want to pop them. Butt pads in case you got to pull up a carpet. They've done story time here where they'll bring in local authors or illustrators to share their children's books with the kids to get them involved in reading and learning. It's funny, sometimes the kids don't want to necessarily get hands-on, they're kind of shy, it's a new place, but once they realize like, hey, this stuff is cool and fun, I want to play with this too. Like for instance, Gravitrax is where you can build like a marble run type setup, play with gravity and get the marble from A to B and obstacles along the way. Of course, we've got Super Mario Monopoly, origami. What about VR? We've got a few Oculus Quests hanging around in here. We got one that's set up and 2 more to go. There are obviously sponsors involved. I mean, they have a whole nother side of this building that we're gonna be showing you, which is where we become really heavily involved. But I wanna show you the reason why I got involved in this particular project. So ASUS was awesome enough to sponsor Chromebooks, because one of the things that a lot of the times kids don't have access to, especially in downtown living environments, you know, you have a huge spread in terms of access to technology depending on the income levels, is they provided Chromebooks. This will allow kids to come in and do some of their studying, to do some of their online research, just to get access to online, which is something they may not have at home. So we got 3 Chromebooks here sent to us by ASUS. That's awesome. Bunch of different stuff going on here. We got Legos, cups and spoons. Remember how Forky was made? Toy Story 4 Forky? Make your own Forky while you're here. Science experiments. We got all these laminated sheets here that just kind of guide the kids through different types of STEAM projects. You can just sort of get your Bill Nye the Science Guy on. That's kind of on the craft table section. Over here, this is more or less where the tutoring happens. They do have tutors on staff that you can basically schedule a time with so that you can have your kid get learning help again. But you and your significant other, or just yourself, go and get some wine or something to drink. Remember, we are in the middle of downtown Long Beach. This area over here is kind of neat. This is sort of the reading area right here. So again, we have beanbags on the carpet here. They play music. We've got books that they can choose from. This is one of my daughter's favorite sections over here. This is the art section. They got a local artist by the name of Lejean who does fabulous work and teaches the kids. You know how there's some of the adult places where you can do like art and wine night? He will take kids along with painting experiences where they can, well, in this instance, paint your very own skateboard, right? So you can he has different projects that he will bring in, and usually it goes on the schedule, so you guys will see what's happening here. A lot of different mediums, mostly paint, but it's pretty fun. I dropped my daughters off. They did not want to leave when it was time to go. We've got a big projector over here, which is kind of hard to see because we have all the lights on. This is so that they have movie nights here. So you want to go and have a night with your wife or your husband or your significant other, the kids can also come have their own movie night. And they're showing, obviously, appropriate films and stuff for kids of all ages. Now, this is the main enrichment center. Where I come in is over here. This is the Scholars Collective Tech Lab powered by JayzTwoCents. This is where I was basically told, Jay, this is what we're doing. And this is what we want you to do. This entire half of the building, I basically had a clean slate, a blank canvas to do whatever I wanted. So my vision here, coming specifically as a parent that has gotten my kids very involved and active in tech, is how can we take this space and have the ability to give parents a way to get experience with a lot of this stuff that they maybe aren't experienced with, while their kids are trying to get them involved and they don't have a place to do that, especially right now in a time when buying or building a computer is nearly impossible for many people. So I pulled together as many connections as I could. This has been absolute months in the making. Since before the summer even started, we started reaching out to brands to see who wanted to be a part of this. But the three things I wanted in this space: a place where kids could come and learn the art of live streaming in a safe, controlled environment, a place for people to come and play games with their friends on PC, again, in a safe and controlled environment, and a place for there to be creativity involving tech. And that's specifically gonna be the maker space, where we're gonna have 3D printers, a PC building station, where kind of like, you go to the museum and there's all those hands-on stations. It's gonna be a hands-on station where you can learn how to build a computer. We're gonna have CPUs and motherboards and cases and parts sitting there that people can basically put together. And then at the end of the day or whatever, you take it apart and then the next person can do it or whatever. And people get to get hands-on with the stuff without the fear of breaking or damaging something, because the reality is it probably won't work anyway. It's about getting hands-on and feeling the way it feels when a graphics card properly slots in the PCIe slot, how a CPU feels when it's properly keyed the right way, how to handle a motherboard, putting it into the case, just getting hands-on, because that's the part that a lot of people have fear about, because they don't have the experience and they don't want to have the expensive learning curve of potentially damaging something by experiencing it their first time. Now let's talk about the computer stations real quick, because clearly that's the part that I think most of my audience is going to be most excited about. We are going to have 10 gaming stations here. The idea here too is that we're also going to have an official esports league that's going to take place right here with the tutelage and coaching of the Dominguez Hills Toros, which is an esports team specifically sponsored by the college, or a college team or a collegiate team, where they will come here, host small tournaments, and teach kids what it takes to be involved in the esports genre, if you will. It's a very interesting genre where it can be both very positive and very toxic. And the idea here is about positivity, positive teamwork, how to work together and how to overcome challenges of working as a team. And by doing that, small leagues will be formed in here, and they'll have their own little 5v5 tournaments and titles that are agreed upon, taking place right here on these systems that we're gonna be building. Now the streaming area, like, let's kind of come look in here real quick. So you guys might notice right away, there's a lot of echo, actually reverb in here. There's a couple of things we're gonna do in here. We're gonna be starting off the build series. Remember, this is gonna be a series of videos. This is just showing you guys the idea that we're doing here. Now that we got all the parts, we can actually start building. We get to show you how to handle reverb. We've talked about reverb before, because this little like 7 foot by 9 foot space that's gonna be our streamer space. And again, I apologize for the reverb. I'm sure Phil's gonna work his magic as best he can. I'm trying to talk a little quieter so maybe it won't reverb so bad. If you can hear even while I'm whispering, it's very loud in terms of reverb. No, we're gonna set up the gaming station here. We had a ton of sponsorship for this one independently. Elgato, Corsair, and Origin really stepped up to the plate. In fact, we'll unbox that PC in this video. But we're gonna show you how to get rid of this reverb. We're gonna be putting up bass traps, sound panels. We're gonna be doing lighting, because the idea too is when you're live streaming, it's a show, and what's happening behind you is part of the show. So we're gonna be setting this whole room up as an independent live streaming area. And I'm gonna stand back here now, that way it's not as reverby. The idea here too is it's gonna be in a controlled environment. You can bring your USB sticks, you can do local recording, pretend you're live streaming, because we're not gonna actually let the kids online to live stream. There's obviously a liability issue there in letting kids go online here to live stream. Come here with your parents, let them try it. See what actually goes in to creating a successful and entertaining live stream. The do's and don'ts, and the idea here is that there's going to be even like a checklist that you can see on the wall as a new streamer, even though you're recording. Are your lights on? Is your camera on? How is OBS set up? You know, what's the framing? Is it in focus? Literally giving you a tutorial in person of how to live stream. So obviously Elgato sent over a care package of stuff. So we've got a couple of different key lights over here. There's another one sitting over there in the Origin PC box. We've got the Wave mic arm, because obviously having your mic on an arm is important. We've got the Wave 3 mic and pop filter, because stopping the pops on your mic is very important. If you've ever listened to a stream or a video where all the P's are just Paul, you don't want that in your stream. So I wasn't calling out Paul, just the first thing I thought of with the P in it. No, Paul doesn't do that. Paul's a very good anyway.
Paul's hard to wear.
Hard to wear. So obviously we got our face cam, Stream Deck XL. Very important to use one of these because it allows you to one button touch setup stuff so that you can have your stream much easier to manage without having to do it all through software. You can do it through, well, software, but with shortcut keys. LED lighting strip, the ring light. Not something I think we'll necessarily use in this particular setup, but it is important to have a ring light if you're doing face type vlogging, right? If you're doing like in real life or let's chat or whatever, and it's a full screen of you, that's a better type light than having light panels necessarily lighting you. They did send us over some wave panels. These are some of the first line defense against that reverb that you guys were hearing. So they're hexagon shaped, so you can make patterns on the wall, but you put them in places where you're gonna get reflection. And coupling this with bass traps in the corners is what you need to get rid of the reverb. And then of course, this big long box down the bottom here, this is their green screen that you can actually mount on the floor and pull it up behind you, or mount it on the wall and pull it down. But of course, what good is that without having a PC to actually live stream on? You know, you can't deny the safeguards that they go through to make sure that this arrives in one piece, right? So our friends at Origin PC were very, very keen to get involved in this. Not just because it's awesome to do something for the community, but one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this is these 10 computers are gonna serve way more than 10 people. But the best way to serve and get people involved with computers in a time that you can't build it or buy it yourself is to just have something like this where people can come and enjoy it. So let me get this out of the box. We'll take a look at it. One of the things I know I specifically kind of mentioned with this build is that we need it to be powerful, obviously for live streaming, but also not huge. That way we have plenty of room on our tables to have our setup. So this is obviously running in a Corsair 4000 series case, I believe. This might be a 5000 series. One of the things I love about Origin PC is the fact that whether it be a laptop or a case, you can get custom paintwork done on it. I know it looks sort of MKBHD derivative. I didn't come up with the design, just the logo's mine. So any resemblance there is purely coincidental. But let's go ahead and take a look inside. We've got to unpack our Instapack there. RTX foam. Speaking of RTX, it's got a 3080 in there. Look at that. So we got obviously a water-cooled, this is an AMD system. Not entirely sure what the specs are. I'll look it up online and we'll just put it right here underneath right now under the video. But we have our Elgato capture card on here. So one of the things that we'll probably have set up in here as well is a console. Because oftentimes people want to stream console and they don't know how to integrate console to PC for a stream. So the idea is that you could do pretty much any kind of streaming in there and get experience and hands-on with that. So huge thank you to Origin PC for sponsoring this build for the gaming system. I'll put a link down in the description below. This is going to be heavily utilized. In fact, I can tell you right now, the first time I told my daughter what was happening here, she was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the streaming setup. And I was like, well, you know, you gotta sign a waiver. If I don't sign the waiver, you don't get a. Streaming is scary. It's scary for a lot of parents to let their kids online with a camera. So that's why it won't be going online. It'll be local recording, but it's the same kind of thing. You can take it home and show your parents what you did and be like, see, this is why I want to live stream. But hey, there you go, Origin PC. Now the 10 gaming computers that we talked about obviously needed enough parts to build 10 gaming computers in a time when a lot of people can't get enough parts to build one. So again, this was months and months in the making. We started talking about this prior to summer start. So here we are now going into middle of October, and we're finally seeing this come to fruition. So we'll start because they're sitting right here. EVGA stepped up by providing us 10 power supplies. We've got 10 700-watt power supplies, which will be more than enough to power our system. Any company that's able to send anything at a time right now when they can't keep things in stock shows their commitment to what we're doing and what Dr. Macias is doing here with the Scholars Collective, and it's something that we obviously fully believe in. Intel stepped up with 10 11900Ks. If you do the math on that, that's a lot of money. And we are greatly appreciative towards Intel for providing us 10 of their 11900Ks. We actually never had the retail packaging. This is our first time seeing it. It's kind of neat. I do like the way they all sort of slot together. That's satisfying. So in terms of chassis, you can see them way in the back. We've got 10 IQ 5000X RGB cases back there. Because look, when you walk in here, I probably won't have them on RGB puke, but I want lights everywhere. You've all been or seen DreamHack, PDX LAN, or any of the major LANs, and you just see lights and screens and everything everywhere. That's what I want. I want you to walk in here and anyone that's ever just been dreaming of playing on a computer and this is their first time, I want them to walk in the door and be like, I'm home. And they never even knew that they weren't home. So that's my goal for that. But because I want to fill out as many fans as possible, I had them send us extra 3-pack kits of the SP120 RGB Pros. That way we can just have as many lights as possible. I had Corsair send us the RGB Elite USB headsets because for obvious reasons, battery charging and all that sort of stuff, I want everything to be working when you walk in here. So no wireless accessories, although a lot of good wireless stuff exists. These plug in. They're very comfortable with their ear cushions. They have lighting on them. It's very indicative of what you might see someone wearing in either esports or the live streaming environment. So they sent us 10 of those. So I just found something. Remember the 2 Oculus Quest I showed you in there and they have one that's already hooked up and 2 more in the box? I just found 2 more in the boxes. So you can have 5 people playing VR at the same time. Graphics card wise, I know a lot of you guys are like, how is he doing that? Well, if you take a look, Asus stepped up and supplied 10 3060 Ti tough gaming cards. Our goal here was not to, I mean, yeah, your temptation is to go send 10 3080 Ti's, but you gotta be realistic here. We're gaming in 1440p or 1080p. These are gonna be perfect cards for that resolution. They're also powerful enough to play any of the esports titles that we're gonna be doing here. But you also don't want to burn out your ask by coming with something ridiculous and then just, they go, oh look, Jay's super greedy. But no, we are beyond grateful for Asus sending us these cards, and I want to make a little bit of room right here. We cannot possibly thank them enough for this. So, thank you.
Jay's mining. Ooh.
But that's not all that Asus sent. Asus sent us 10 of their Z590E gaming Wi-Fi motherboards. So these guys right here, which obviously is going to pair perfectly with our 11900K CPUs. RAM-wise, Crucial really stepped up to the plate by providing us 10 16 gigabyte kits of their DDR4 3200 RGB RAM and 10 of their P5 2 terabyte NVMe drives. So that's a lot of speed and plenty of storage for the titles that we're gonna be putting on here. So you guys can see these are shaping up to be some pretty awesome systems. In terms of peripherals, I also had Asus send us some of their peripherals. Each station is getting the ROG Strix Scope RX keyboard, as well as the Strix Impact mouse. Now, in terms of the gaming mats and such, I had Corsair send us 10 of their NM700 RGB gaming mouse pads, because this will be large enough to put their entire keyboard and mouse setup on, and they're RGB. So yeah, I was definitely thankful for this because gaming mats are important in my opinion. 1, it protects the tables. 2, you get a slick surface to obviously move your mouse around on. And then 3, some might be like, well, why didn't you use Asus if you have Asus keyboard and mouse? Well, we're trying to spread the love. We want to spread the love around as many brands as we possibly could. So Corsair sent that to us. Now in terms of cooling, I wanted things to be as maintenance free as possible, which is why I specifically did not go with an AIO or water cooling. Instead, we went with the Be Quiet Dark Rock 4 air tower or air cooling tower. This, as you guys know, is a beast of a cooler. It's gonna obviously cool our 11900K with no problem whatsoever. So Be Quiet was kind enough to send over 10 of those for our setups here. ViewSonic sent over 10 of the XG 270Q, high refresh rate, fast response time, gaming panels with NVIDIA G-Sync. So yeah, it's not just about your input into the system, it's about your responsiveness with the system. So again, something that we felt would pair very well with this particular setup and ideology. So we've got 10 of those. Now obviously you need a place to put your booty, and that's where Mavic stepped up and sent us over an entire room full of their Mavic gaming chairs. And the awesome thing is, the 3 colors they sent, red, black, and gray, match my colors perfectly, which are our channel colors. So obviously we've got mesh back chairs, which are all about the long-term sitting comfort and support. So we are hugely thankful for the chairs to be sent over. So you guys, if you did the math on this, on something that's trying to give back to the community, the startup costs on this would be absolutely ridiculous, with especially the way the tech parts are. And that's why I was more than welcome to burn a few sponsorships of my own to get them into here, into the community, so that we can serve. Remember that art stuff I talked about earlier on the other side? Lejean also painted this mural on the wall, featuring some of the most iconic characters in gaming, starting all the way with 8-bit and Link, and obviously the Donkey Kong ladder system here, featuring some of the most prominent male and female gaming characters that have ever existed, all the way around over here. And this is super cool. I look at this and I go, this is just absolutely awesome. In fact, did you even notice that he painted the pipes green that are already here? A little homage to Mario. So the pipes are painted green. And then the one thing he has left to do is our logo is gonna go right here in the middle. And then he put this Friday the 13th Jason here from the NES, the original NES, because that's my favorite slasher of all time. Not just because we share a name. You can see how the art style actually changes from 8-bit all the way to modern, all the way over here. Look, I mean, we even got Sylvanas from World of Warcraft. Look at the detail in that. That's insane. This is the guy that's leading all of the art stuff. Now, I also mentioned that there's a makerspace happening in here, and that's gonna be this half of the room where we're gonna have 3D printers set up over here where you can get hands-on and learn about 3D printing. What does it take to make a CAD come to life? What does it take to extrude? What type of materials do you need? So that you can have computers over here to set up designs and do basic, small prints that you could do in the time that you're here. But get hands-on and learn about 3D printing. And then I think wrapping around this side, this is where the build station is going to be, where you can get hands-on with putting parts together, feeling, how CPUs feel, what the parts feel like, and start kind of just slotting things in and play around. We'll probably have a few motherboards and a few graphics cards and a few CPUs. People would start playing with all of that. So the idea is that while you're gaming over there, people could be building over here, and then depending on how much room is in the middle, maybe we'll have some chaise lounges or chairs or something here, bean bags that people that are maybe taking a break from the computers or they're waiting for their turn, because obviously this is going to be scheduled and need like slots to get in here and play, would have a place to relax and watch people play. I also was thinking it'd be neat if we had a monitor on that wall right there, which is the backside of the streaming lab, so that if you want to see what the person's doing in there in real time, because you can't see through once the doors are shut, you can't see through there because of the blinds and stuff. But you could be out here watching in real time what they're doing through a mirrored monitor. So it'd be kind of like the behind the scenes when you're watching a sitcom be recorded and you see the screen and what's happening. You'd be able to see what's happening right there, what the streamer's doing without interrupting them. So that's my thought on that. Seeing all these parts, the last time I was here, this was empty. None of these parts were here yet. And stuff started arriving real quick. And they were like, hey, parts are coming. Can we do something, please? And I'm like, hey, yeah, we'll get on the schedule, and here we are. So now the next step obviously is when we have to start putting a lot of this together. So that's where I'm gonna ask you guys a couple of things. One, if you're in the Southern California area and you're looking for a night out, and you want a place to be able to bring your kids that you can trust, it's safe, it's controlled, it's learning based. And trust me, although you say learning to a kid, they're like, oh, I don't want to go to school. And it's like, no, it's not school, it's fun, it's projects. Check out the link in the description below. You guys will find the website to the Scholars Collective Enrichment Center. Literally right next door is where all the restaurants are. So you guys could do that or go for a walk on the beach if you want, or the aquarium is right over there. Take your kids here and then go to the aquarium or something. But obviously we have a build series where we put this room together. That's gonna take several videos to get done. So that's why I ask that you guys be subscribed so you don't miss any of it, because it may not seem like it, but the idea of doing this was about using what I've built over the last 10 years to be able to finally give back something tangible to a community and see it get used in practical use. The giveaways are fun, but I rarely ever hear back from anyone when we give that stuff away. I never see the systems built. I haven't seen one system built that I've given away, like the parts do. So now I can actually see where all of that labor is going into, and I can see the give back that it's giving to the community. And that's the idea behind all of this. And it also would not be possible without the sponsors that you guys see below, or in the description below, and all these parts that I showed you, because this is truly an effort from an entire community, whether it be the manufacturers, or the people that are just believing in this channel, allowing us to build to where we are to do what we're doing now. We've built the channel to something huge, and I feel like it's time to start doing huge things in a much bigger way when it comes to the community outreach. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new. We gotta start putting all this together here, so we gotta get this on the schedule. And as much as I wanna build 10 computers, I'm gonna get people to help me to do that. And yeah, building one's fun enough, but the cable management nightmare that might come along with 10 of them, someone gets to enjoy that with me.